Hey guys, today I'm gonna react to this video of why Elon Musk won't go to space. So I'm curious because I know Elon's been working on this forever, and then Jeff Bezos and some other people have been trying to as well. But it'd be interesting to see why he won't.
Last month, both Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos made history by traveling to space on their own private vehicles. Many have argued that these two didn't actually reach real space,
Oh
as they didn't
yeah,
reach orbit or even travel very far into space. Though their achievements are
I don't know. It's just like I feel like these two. I don't know if it's like they're doing it because they're trying to boost their company even more, or like an advertisement, or maybe it's just they truly did want to get to space. Because I guess as a billionaire, like you're able to do so many things, and going to space is like one of those things that a lot of people have been able to do. So maybe that's why they're doing that.
extremely impressive in their own right, I can see why many wouldn't exactly consider them astronauts. Elon Musk, however, is easily capable of ticking off all the boxes of being an astronaut. He's easily capable of using Falcon 9 to not
Oh
only cross
yeah.
the Kármán line, but reach the ISS, stay in the ISS for several months, and then return safely. Despite this, though, Elon has yet to make the journey. So here's why Elon refuses to go to space.
Okay, let's see.
Before we jump into the video,
It's probably because he realized how dangerous it actually is. Like, I feel like these others are just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go to space, but it's like one thing goes wrong and you're dead. Like, I feel like he understands all the possible things that could go wrong. That's why he's maybe he's more reluctant because of that reason.
I wanted to address that Elon will likely go to space eventually. Whether that's next month or 10 years from now, I don't know.
It's probably 10
But
years.
it is likely an eventuality. So I wanted to make it clear that I'm not saying that Elon will never go to space. Rather, I simply wanted to take a look at why he has refused the opportunity thus far, despite having the technology for years. With that being said, let's jump into the first and most obvious reason, which is death. Space travel is not the safest journey to embark on, and each spaceflight carries significant risk for straight up death. Even with Falcon 9, which has proven to be one of the most reliable rockets of all time, the risk of death is not negligible.
Oh
NASA
yeah.
estimates that there's a 1 in 60 chance that a Falcon 9 mission fails but does not lead to a fatality. And there's a 1 in 276 chance that a Falcon 9 mission fails and leads to a fatality. That's
Wow.
about the same chance as having twins. Elon Musk already has twins and triplets, so maybe that's a sign that he shouldn't take the trip.
Right.
But putting cosmic signs aside, death itself is not the real challenge for Elon. The real challenge would be the consequences that follow his death.
Oh yeah.
SpaceX and Tesla are by no means mature companies.
That's what I was thinking as well, is that maybe he's not willing to start yet because it's like, if you think about it, it's like, who would take in charge of Tesla or SpaceX if he died tomorrow? Like, you have these other companies where it's like easy, where like, it's like Coca-Cola, for instance. Like, I could be the CEO of Coca-Cola. Like, it's not like, what's so hard about that? Yeah, you're gonna have to make sure, like, the basic management skills as a CEO, but it's not like Tesla and SpaceX where it's a lot of technology, and also too, I feel like Elon has like a vision of what he wants to do for the future. I feel like he's not that kind of person that just wants to make a bunch of money. I think he's that kind of person that wants to actually make different future, and if he died or something like that happened, like even if somebody could take his place, would they have the same vision as he did, or would they just kind of totally just like, oh, we'll just try to make money, we don't care about all these visions.
Tesla has recently made strides forward, and is likely at a point where it can survive and even thrive without Elon. But just 3 years ago, Tesla was within single-digit weeks of bankruptcy, and Tesla may have gotten wiped out without Elon. Similarly,
Oh, yeah.
SpaceX doesn't really have a successor lined up. Gwen Shotwell is amazing and could probably run the company as well as Elon. But Gwen is actually older than Elon at 57, so she's not really a long-term successor. Considering the current states of SpaceX and Tesla, it doesn't make sense for Elon to risk the futures of these companies, which is basically his
Oh
life's
yeah.
work, on a joyride to space. But wait a minute, if SpaceX itself is not a mature company, there's no way that Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic are mature companies. So why were Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson willing to risk the futures of their space companies? Well, the answer is to play catch up. Virgin Galactic Spaceship Two has only had a total of 4 space flights, and Richard Branson rode on the 4th launch. Fortunately, all of these space flights have been successful, but with only 4 total flights, you wouldn't exactly describe Spaceship Two as having a stellar track history. Blue Origin does have a lot more
Oh,
data,
that's really
as they launched New
cool.
Shepard a total of 15 times.
That actually looks like something from Star Trek. I'm like, what? It's so like, wow, I've never seen a Blue Origin rocket in the inside.
Times before Jeff took his flight. Throughout the 15 launches, New Shepard had 14 successful flights and 1 partially successful flight. Even in the partially successful flight, Blue Origin was able to recover the capsule successfully. So, New Shepard has a pretty strong safety record. But even that holds no water in comparison to Falcon 9. The Demo 2 mission we saw last year with Bob and Doug was literally the 85th launch of the Falcon 9. It would take years for Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin to rival SpaceX's track record.
Oh
At Blue
yeah.
Origin's current pace of about 1 launch every 3 months, it would take them 17 and a half years to complete 85 launches. Even if Blue Origin sped up to SpaceX's pace and did a launch every other week with New Shepard, it would take Blue Origin another 2.5 years to complete 85 launches. So clearly, Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin needed to catch up in terms of.
Oh yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean that they did that for the purpose of being relevant and trying to get people all hyped up about them again. But it's just like, I don't know. Was it really worth taking that risk? Like, dying just to prove a point? But, I don't know. I guess these guys are super competitive and want to do whatever they can. But, yeah, it's just crazy.
Reliability. And one of the boldest ways to vouch for the reliability of your spacecraft is to ride it yourself. And that's precisely what they did. As for Elon, he does not need to vouch for the reliability.
You know, I was thinking too with those two guys. You know, like um, say like 3 months before the next launch or whatever, and they came into the room and they tell everybody, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna go on the next flight." Like, imagine how stressful that must have been for those guys and girls. Like, um, to like, for them to like make sure that everything is like good. It's like they're like, if we mess this up, our CEO is gonna die. Like, that must have been so stressful for them to have to double check and triple check everything.
Of Falcon 9, and he does not need to catch up to anyone. So, Elon riding on Falcon 9 would do little for SpaceX's future or track record. Something else we have to consider is that SpaceX has a completely different customer base than Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic. SpaceX doesn't really care about the space tourism market. Every time I say this, I get comments asking me if I've ever heard about SpaceX's Dear Moon project or the upcoming Axiom trip in 2022. The answer is yes, I have heard about these missions, and SpaceX does do tourism trips here and there. But
Yeah.
this is by no means their focus. The Dear Moon project is basically a fundraiser for Starship. And with the Axiom trip to the ISS, Axiom is the one that's handling the tourism side of the business. For SpaceX, it's just another crew mission to the ISS. They're not spending time or effort in advertising the service and selling tickets. They're just the vehicle provider. SpaceX really only deals with commercial customers, and 95% of their missions are business or science related. So I think it's safe to say that SpaceX does not focus on space tourism. For Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic, however,
Yeah.
space tourism is a focal point. They don't really have many commercial.
Yeah, especially Virgin. Like, I mean, that guy has like everything. Like, he has like his own like hyperloop and planes and like, I think he has like boats or something. So it makes sense for him to totally be on board with that. Because I mean, if you even look at his like spaceship or whatever, it literally looks like a plane. Like, it also is not gonna go in deep space. It's just for tourism base. So I mean, I could see those two like be more focused on the money side, But I feel like Elon is more focused on the long term and actually creating a good rocket, not being like trying to be like this whole race to the finish so that they can make the most money. Because whoever can do it first and do it safely, obviously would make a lot of money before everybody else catches up.
Commercial customers, and they expect to make the vast majority of their money by selling tickets to space. Blue Origin, for instance, has apparently already sold nearly $100 million worth of space tickets. This vastly different customer base leads to vastly different expectations. Neither NASA nor the US military give a crap about whether Elon rode on Falcon 9. They each have thousands of scientists working for them, and they'll perform their own risk analysis of Falcon 9 to determine whether they want to contract out a job to SpaceX or not. Similarly, when companies decide on whether to use a SpaceX rocket, they only care about three things: payload capacity, price, and the risk of failure. Again, they don't give a crap about Elon riding a rocket. The space tourism customer base, however, values this much more. Here's the thing. Let's say you're a multimillionaire worth about $5 million, and you're considering buying a $250,000 ticket to space with either Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. You can look at the track record of New Shepard and Spaceship Two, but you don't actually know the physics behind each spacecraft, and the safety of the two seem pretty similar. Now, let's say Richard Branson rides Spaceship Two to space, but Jeff Bezos does not ride New Shepard. I don't know about you, but if I was in this position, I would definitely choose Virgin Galactic over Blue Origin. The reasoning is that Richard Branson is much more important than me. And if he's willing to trust his life on Spaceship Two, then he's probably pretty darn confident in its safety. As you can see, founders riding their rocket holds much more weight within the space tourism industry than the commercial space industry. And this just further disincentivizes Elon from making the trip. Moving on, another factor hindering Elon is likely the time commitment. Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic's offerings are specifically designed to be as easy to use as possible. This means minimal training, minimal learning, and just overall minimal effort. And this makes sense considering that the entire trip is only a couple of minutes. If Elon were to ride Falcon 9 though, the training would be much more extensive, as in many months. The Action 1 crew, for instance, will undergo 15 weeks of training before traveling to the ISS. In the business world, 15 weeks is more than an entire fiscal quarter. Imagine if Elon stepped back from Tesla for a full quarter to go train for a Falcon 9 flight. I don't think Tesla investors, especially institutional investors and Wall Street, would be very happy. And finally, the last reason that Elon may be hesitant in taking a trip to space is that he's saving the journey for something much larger. As Jeff Bezos said, it's not like any of these guys are actually the first people to go to space. At this point, people have been traveling to space for over 50 years. And though less than 1,000 people have traveled to space in that time period, would people even care about Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk going to space if it wasn't for their popularity? I mean, just look at SpaceX's own crewed missions. Everyone knows that Bob and Doug were the first ones to ride Falcon 9 to the ISS. But do you know the astronauts that were part of Crew 1 or Crew 2? Considering this, would an Elon trip actually be a massive achievement? Or would it just be a big thing because Elon is involved? I think it's more of the latter. So maybe Elon does not want to go to space until the trip itself is historic, whether that's a trip around the moon or a trip to Mars. Speaking of a trip...
Yeah, because I can see that as well with him. It's like... I just feel like with Richard and Jeff, I feel like for them it's a marketing gimmick or whatever. But for Elon, I just feel like since the beginning of all this and him working on this for such a long time, I mean, if you put that much effort into something, like for like, I don't know how long it's been, 20 years, like he's clearly really passionate about space and these rockets. And I feel like, like the other two, it's like, yeah, you were able to do it, but it's like it was very short lived. It was like, kind of pathetic in a way because it was only a couple of minutes. But I feel like Elon, I feel like he wants his first time to be absolutely amazing, like truly, like more than just a couple of minutes, actually like going to the space station or going to like a planet. Like I feel like that's what he wants. He wants to actually do a real trip, get to a place and actually like touch the ground of another planet. I feel like that's what he really wants. I don't think he wants that, short term thing. Because if he wanted that, he could have easily done it. But I think he wants like something way more, and he knows that. Like he wants, but he also wants to change a lot of things too in this, like, for our future. So it's like I don't think he will take that risk either. But that's what I think. I think he wants it to be something truly special, not just like a 5 second or 10 minutes or 30 minutes.
But on the moon, a reporter actually asked Elon if he would be willing to join the Japanese billionaire on the Dear Moon project. And this is how he responded.
What does that make you think about going into space yourself, and when do you think that's going to happen?
You mean like me personally? Oh, well, I think first of all, like I would say, I think this has like done a lot to restore my faith in humanity. That somebody's willing to do this, like, take their money and like help fund this new project that's risky, might not succeed, it's dangerous. It's like donating seats, like these are great things. It's like, tell you, it's done a lot to restore my faith in humanity.
As you can see, Elon was super hesitant in answering the question, and he basically just avoided the question and talked about how Yusaku restored his faith in humanity. Elon would eventually answer the question though, and here's what he said.
And as far as me going, I'm not sure. He did suggest like maybe that I would join on this trip. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
Please,
maybe we'll both be on it.
Yeah.
As you can see, Elon did not technically refuse to go, but his hesitance makes it seem like it's quite unlikely due to all the reasons we already outlined in this video.
Yeah, like, I could also see that deep down he really, really wants to. Like, he's like dying to go, but he knows that he can't just do it right now. He needs to keep working and making sure like everything's well set up first before that point. Or maybe this is another feeling or thought I have. It's that he has kids. He has like. I think it was like 4 boys. I think it's 4. But they're all pretty young, I think. I think they're like in the like 13s or younger. And there's a chance. I mean, he's 50, I think. He might want to wait. He might be wanting to wait until they grow up a little bit more before he does it. Because I mean, if you think about it, like, I mean, I don't have kids, but at the same time, you need to, like, he wants to see them grow up, and, what would, like, how devastating that would be if he died. Like, wow, so now, like, you have these 40 kids, they're not even, like, in high school yet, and you're like, their dad died. And I feel like maybe that's another reason, maybe he really does want to go, but he's choosing not to because he wants to at least wait until they grow old. So he wants to spend time with his kids, because as exciting as space is, life is more. I feel life is more about the people you spend time with. Because I mean, I know space is exciting. It's like, oh, look how amazing I am. But it's just like, that would just be so heartbreaking for, like, if you just like vanish and they didn't even, like, you didn't even get to see them graduate high school or college, and it's just like, or I mean, it's like there's a lot. I mean, there could be financial reasons, safety reasons, or life reasons, just like that. Like, that would just be devastating. And like, he's been in multiple, I think like 2 or 3 divorces or something. So I mean, it's already difficult for the kids having to keep adjusting, but then also, like, if he disappeared, that would just be like crazy, like terrible for them.
With that being said though, Elon has also stated that he would be down to die on Mars.
I mean, if you're gonna, listen, we're all gonna die someday. So if you're gonna die someday, I'm like, okay, going to be buried on Mars or Earth? I'm like, Mars sounds cool. Born on Earth, die on Mars. That's, if you've got the choice.
So maybe that's been his master plan all along. How do you guys think Elon's first space trip will look like? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you can't wait for space to become affordable for us mortals. And of course, consider joining our Discord community to suggest future video ideas, and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
No, that was really good. I liked it. It's interesting because we get in so much hype. There's so much hype with these people who did do it, but then it's interesting for somebody like Elon, the guy who's known for space, and that's what he's been working on for so long, how it's not really clear exactly why he isn't, but it makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why he isn't, but it's interesting though seeing that interview, because in a way I feel like he's like stuck in this hard place where his one side of him wants to, but then the other side it's like tell him not to because different things. But I hope he does though. I really hope he gets it, that he does it one day, because that would be very sad if something happened to him before he ever got the chance to. Like, I mean, I feel like that's like the one thing I feel like he would really want to have. Like I know he loves his, like his family. I know he really loves them, like the kids and like people he knows. But it's just like I feel like going to space is that one accomplishment that he would really want to do. But who knows why exactly? But it's a pretty interesting video. It has there's definitely a lot of thought was put into that, and I think it's pretty interesting to see like all the perspectives of why he may or may not want to go. But I don't think he's scared. I don't think it's not like he doesn't want to. I feel like there's a lot of things holding him back. It's out of his control. That's why he isn't. I feel like it's gonna be something like that. I feel like deep down he wants to, but he can't because of all these other things. But if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like and subscribe, and thank you very much.